Dear students, welcome back to my class. So today we are discussing with the topic publications. Actually, this is a continuation of the previous class. Have you heard about the term publications? Publication simply means it is the releasing of a research finding into the public. Okay, so publication of research finding is one of the most important component of a scientific study. Here what we are doing is that we are placing the result or conclusion or inference of an experimental investigation as a part of scientific literature. Actually, the scientific literature includes the publication of all these original, empirical and theoretical findings. A scientific literature are generally categorized into three different accounts with the grades. They are primary literature, secondary literature, and tertiary literature. Let's move in detail. Primary literature that we have already discussed in the first part of the ethics in science, that is primary source, secondary source, tertiary source, and digital source of the scientific depository. It is somewhat similar to this scientific literature. So primary literature means it is a result of an original work which is initially published in a scientific journal. Okay, for example, technical reports, minor research result, project reports, engineering and design, all these things, all the work result which is generally published in the first time, that will be an original one. Okay, this is called a primary literature. Scientific journal means we have to publish all our research as articles in this scientific journal. So the scientific journal contains a lot of articles. Each article constitutes a new finding, a new paper. Okay, so that is called a primary literature. Then secondary literature means, this is also we have discussed, it generally includes edited books, review journals, compilation of articles, etc. So this secondary literature is actually generally depending upon this primary, it is a derivative of primary literature that we can say, and they generally includes edited books, review journals, and a compilation of articles. Then comes the tertiary literature. It includes mainly the encyclopedias and similar referral work of findings, which is generally concerned with the broad public use. Okay, so this is called a tertiary literature. Then what are the things that we need to be aware while publishing a scientific article in a scientific journal? Okay, so let's discuss. A scientific article should be published in scientific journals. For example, Nature is a journal, then International Journal of Recent Research, then International Endeavor is a journal, then Elsewhere is a journal. All these things are famous journals. So a lot of scientific journals are available in digital format, and we can publish our new findings mainly in the scientific journal as scientific articles. Okay, then second one is as a patent specialized for science and technology. Then patents are something you may be knowing that it is one of the intellectual property. This is unique to a particular person or a group of authors or a company or something, and it is generally specialized. These kinds of patents should be specialized mainly in the science as well as the technology field. Then books. Books should be wholly written by either one author or many authors. Books whose different chapters are compiled by different authors or by a set of authors with a general editor. Okay, the books may be written by one author or many authors. If there are many authors are there, it should be compiled by different authors or by a set of authors, and there will be a general editor. What is the role of editor? Yes, he has the right to modify the content and all these things. Okay, before publishing. Then the scientific paper presented at academic conferences, especially those organized by learned authors. The publication also includes those papers which is presented in certain conferences like Indian National Congress, Kerala National Congress, then another kind of international as well as a national conference. When we are presenting all these our findings in these kinds of conferences, there also this conference also will publish our work as proceedings. Okay, so that will be taken as a publication work. Then government reports such as the report of forensic investigation, which is conducted by a government agency, is one of the publication. Okay, then scientific publication can also be done in World Wide Web, which means we can access at any time. So these are the things which is generally included in the publication: scientific articles, patents, books, then scientific papers which is presented in academic conferences, then government reports, publication which is generally done in World Wide Web. All these things are generally included in the scientific publications. Then, what does we mean a scientific article? I told you that most of our new findings are generally we are putting all these scientific articles, or we are publishing all these things in a scientific journal. Then how we can what are the things that we need to be aware of producing a scientific article in a scientific journal? So I will cite you with an example. This is one of the paper of mine. It's a scientific article which is published in the journal International Journal of Recent Scientific Research. So the name of the scientific journal is International Journal of Recent Research. Okay, I have published this in February 2018 in the volume 9 and issue 2. And in this particular volume, my work is generally published in the page, this page. Okay, so the first one is the title. The title should be precise and concise, it indicating the content of the article. So this whole content is generally indicated mainly in this title. Here, this work is about the DNA barcoding and phylogenetic inference of a endemic species. This is Onychogomphus malabarensis. This is a dragonfly which is present only in Kerala, and here I have published a work regarding the DNA barcoding of this particular dragonfly using mitochondrial cytochrome oxidase subunit 1 marker gene. So this is a title. Then comes the names and affiliation of the authors. The scientific article contains the details of the author. Here, this is published by me and my guide, and this is our address, that is Department of Zoology, University of Kerala. So the affiliation as well as the name should be given in the scientific article. Then in continuing that, the first part is the abstract. This is abstract. The abstract must be done in the first part is actually the abstract. This is usually done either as a paragraph or as a whole page. Okay, this abstract means the summary of it is the short summary of the whole work. Okay, then the format of this paper, scientific paper, must be archival in format, which means archival means before publishing the paper, we need to check those papers which is already published in this journal. That is called the archive. If we are opening this particular journal, we can see that there is a particular region called archives. So when we click the archives, there we can see what are the different kinds of scientific article which is already published in this journal. So by looking this journal, we can see what about the format of the paper. Here, this is the format of this particular paper in this journal. It will be different in different journal. Okay, if you are looking in Elsevier or Endemol or Nature, this type of journals, this you cannot see this kind of format. The format might be different. Okay, so we have to, before publishing up our article in this journal, we need to modify. We need to convert our text into this particular format, like this. Okay, that is called the archival format. Then the library should be able to store and catalog the document in a retrieval one. So after publishing our work, our library has to be they have to keep this particular document in a retrieval, that means in a printable form. Okay, so that is a format. Then Then the next one that we need to aware about while publishing is the content should be presented in the light of previous scientific investigation with a citation of the relevant document called the introduction. That means when we look when we go through this introduction, you can see in certain region there are certain things are generally quoted in brackets. Here is there. Then you can see here, which actually indicates what is that we have taken this idea. We have written something in this introduction, so we have taken this particular thing or particular idea from this particular author, that is Singh, who is published his work in 2012. So while we are writing a scientific article, we need to review, or we need to go through previous works of this particular thing that we are doing our experiment. So I have taken this particular thing or a sentence or this idea from this author. So when we are taking his idea and we are quoting this in our paper, we need to, what we have to do, that we need to specify the name of the author and the published year. That is generally quoted in this bracket. Here also I have taken this sentence from here, and this from this author, and here is there, all these things. All these things we need to cite all these things mainly in the introduction part. Introduction, and also in the discussion part we can add this kinds of references. Okay, in other, but most of the other part like result, then conclusion, from all these things we cannot add the work of previous one or previous author. Okay, so we have to cite all these things mainly in the introduction part. That is called, the content should be presented in the light of previous scientific investigation with the citation of the relevant document, which is called introduction. We need to quote this particular scientific investigation as citation mainly in the introductory part of scientific article. Okay, then comes the materials and method. Actually, in most of the experiments, we have taken the methodology from a previous work. So that is actually an empirical technique. What does mean by empirism? Yes, it is a knowledge which is generally acquired through experience, or we are taking the knowledge mainly from the previous work. So it should be this kind of previous work that should be generally done in the materials and method. Here you can see that I have taken this materials method. You can see that here Emilia et al. Here she has done the identification, but here you can see in other part you can see this is generally the methodology is taken from another author or the work which is published by a different author. So it should be this kind of empirical technical should be included mainly in the materials and methods. Then comes the result. The result should be recorded on a section called a result or observation of result. Here what we are doing is that here the result data should be presented either in the tabular or graphical form. Here you can see that this is a picture of this dragonfly. Then this is a graph image. This is not a graph, this is a phylogenetic tree. So these kinds of images and schematic diagrammatic representation should be done mainly in the result page. Okay, then comes the interpretation of the result. This is called we are interpreting our results mainly in the result and discussion part, and it should be generally named as result and discussion or conclusion. Okay, then comes the references. We need to write the references. I have told you that in the introduction part we have cited some references from previous authors. So we have to refer that name of that particular author mainly in the reference part. This is called the reference section or literature cited, to enlist from which source we have cited this particular particular information. So that's all about the publication. I hope you understood. Thank you.